Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Of course, it's your girl Cooking with Tammy, and I'm back with another great one. Today I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate barbecue ribs. When I tell you it's going to be tender, juicy, and absolutely melt in your mouth delicious, this right here is going to be everything. So, what we're going to need for this recipe obviously is ribs. It doesn't matter if you want to rock out with spare ribs, St. Louis style ribs, boneless ribs, baby back ribs. Just get some ribs and let's get the cooking. We're also going to need some brown sugar along with Worcestershire sauce, oil, mustard, and of course your girl Cooking with Tammy's barbecue seasoning. Why am I saying Cooking with Tammy's barbecue seasoning? Because this seasoning bottle right here has everything that you're going to need for the ultimate flavor. It's going to take your ribs to the next level, trust me. We have everything in here. We have the hickory, we have the smoke, we have the brown sugar, the paprika, you name it, we got it in this bottle. With all of that being said, let's get to cooking. Before we decide to season up our spare ribs, it's important that we wash it off first. So let me just show you how I love, or should I say how I like to clean my ribs, or just any meat in general. Besides, there's a lot of comments that come in that ask for me to basically show how I get the job done and how I get the meat nice and clean. So let's get it. As you can see, there's a lot of fat going on with our spare ribs because it's not as lean as our baby back ribs. Not a problem. We're going to use some of this fat for our benefit. And that's what's going to definitely help to keep our meat nice and moist and juicy. We're going to flip it on over. And we're going to get rid of all of this stuff right here. Tons of fat, plus it has the membrane going on. And with this membrane right here, it's going to be hard for our seasoning to penetrate and get deep down into the meat, all right? We're going to cut it on off. Make sure you use a sharp knife to get the job done. I'm going to take my knife and just get my hands out of the way and try to gain some access to removing this extra layer. Patience is key with everything in life. As you can see, we got it on off, so our meat is going to be perfectly seasoned on up. We're going to temporarily rest the meat on in the sink. And of course, thoroughly clean your sink before and after. I like to add a good amount of salt. Get in there, rub it on up. Give it a little bath and a little shower. And it's not going to take an hour. And we're going to do the same thing for the back as well. Rub that salt on in. We're going to use cold water to rinse the meat on off. Make sure it's cold as possible. Not warm, not lukewarm, but cold water is what we need to use to wash this meat on off. Check it on out nice. See the vibrancy? The color is absolutely standing out at this point. Grab a couple of paper towels, pat the meat dry, and once we're done, we're going to lay it on out onto our cutting board. It's about that time. We are ready to season up our ribs. So I'm going to hit it off with some Dijon mustard. And the Dijon mustard is going to give it a beautiful contrast. Not only is it going to allow the seasoning to stick to the ribs as well, but like I said, it's going to give it a really nice flavor. We're going to get in there and massage the mustard on into the ribs, just like that. Make sure all areas are covered. If you want to use yellow mustard, you can use yellow mustard as well. I'm using Dijon for that nice little Dijon flavor. For seasonings, we're going to get in there with our Cooking with Tammy's barbecue seasoning, which has pretty much everything to make a delicious barbecue. Rib, chicken, trust me, it's going to be everything. We're going to make sure we cover every part of these ribs because we want to indulge in the ultimate flavor. Take your time, make sure you get all areas covered. The great thing about this seasoning is it's like a one-shot deal. You don't have to pull out a ton of seasonings, garlic powder, onion powder, unless you're looking for a little extra, all right? Brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, you name it. You don't have to do all of that because guess what? Cooking with Tammy seasonings contain just about everything that you could possibly think of. Everything that would make the perfect barbecue is within this formula right here. We're gonna get in there and pat our seasoning on in. Just rub it on in, why not? Looking perfect. I am gonna get my baking pan because I'm gonna line my baking pan with some aluminum foil. I'm gonna place the ribs on in there and I'm gonna season it up even more while it's in the baking pan. I'm gonna add a little bit of brown sugar as well. Even though the seasoning has brown sugar, it does not have a lot. I also like to get in there and add some Worcestershire sauce. Hit it with that sauce, boy. It's gonna bring out the ultimate flavor. Pat it on in some more. It's gonna be the best ribs you ever had. I can guarantee you that much. We're gonna flip the meat on over. Perfect fit. This is a large size baking pan, just in case you're wondering. I'm gonna hit this side off with some mustard as well. And we're gonna repeat the same process. Hit it off with our barbecue seasoning. Make sure every area is covered. All right, perfect. We're gonna hit it off with some brown sugar. Gonna hit it off with some Worcestershire sauce. It has a salt factor along with a sweet and sour factor. And the tamarind that's in the Worcestershire sauce is definitely gonna bring out the flavors in the ribs as well, along with everything else. We're gonna wrap our ribs on up, but we're not gonna take the aluminum foil and place it directly onto the ribs. Instead, we're gonna wrap it, yes, but we're gonna do it like we're creating a tent to keep the heat and the steam locked in. Place it into our 350-degree oven. After placing the ribs into the oven, let me share with you a couple tips that I like to do when it comes to making the best barbecue ribs ever. Now, you can cook it, or should I say you can bake your ribs at 350 degrees and speed up the process. It's gonna cook faster, but is it gonna be as tender? Maybe not. I like to honestly lower my oven to about 250 degrees. And that's Fahrenheit, of course, not Celsius. And I like to allow the ribs to cook for about 4.5 to 5 hours or until tender and literally falling off of the bone. That's one of the things that I like to do when it comes to making barbecue ribs. Like I said, 250 degrees Fahrenheit, 4.5 to 5 hours. But if, you know, time is an issue for you, of course, if you're gonna rock out with 350, it's a possibility it might only take about 2 hours to get the ribs cooked and ready to go. I just pulled the ribs out of the oven and they're looking good. However, we are gonna make a delicious complimentary sauce to go along with our ribs, all right? It's gonna be called Tammy's Amped Up Barbecue Sauce. What can I tell you, all right? Something that I pulled out of the air. So, what are we gonna need? We're gonna need some barbecue sauce along with sweet chili, hot sauce, Worcestershire sauce, ginger powder, butter, and honey. And that's all we're gonna need, nothing else. Make sure you get that ginger powder out of the back of the cabinet. Act like it's Christmas. And let's get to cooking. To this bowl right here, we're gonna add our favorite brand of barbecue sauce, whatever brand that may be. Let's scoop it on out. Everyone has their preference when it comes to their barbecue sauce. We got the barbecue sauce in the bowl. We're gonna add our Worcestershire sauce, yes. We're also gonna add our hot sauce for that little acidity contrast of flavor, along with our sweet chili. Get it on out. And we're going to add a spoonful of honey. We're going to give it a little push and a little nudge. Get in there. All right. We're going to add some ginger powder. See, ginger powder is good for more than just one thing. Let's mix it on up really, really good. Make sure everything is well combined. I gave it a little quick taste test. I want it to be a little bit more sweeter, so I'm going to add just a tad bit more of honey. Okay, perfect. The great thing about this sauce is you can play around with it and customize it as much as possible to accommodate your preference, whether or not if you want it to be a little bit more sweeter, a little bit more spicy, so on and so forth. All right, we are looking good. We're going to add a small amount of butter. Allow our butter to become nice and melted, and we are going to add our sauce. All right, get it all in there just like that. Gonna mix it on up, combine it with the butter. Just took the ribs on out of the oven, and trust me, we have that perfect caramelization going on. And guess what? It may look a little bit charred, but I can guarantee you it is soft and tender and falling off of the bone delicious. Check it on out. Check it on out. Our sauce is ready to go. We're just going to pour it onto our ribs just like that. And we're going to use our basting brush. And we're just going to spread it onto the ribs just like that.
Don't be skimpy with the sauce. After all, we made more than enough. So make sure you add a lot of sauce because we want these ribs to be nice and saucy. Take your time. Make sure every single part of these ribs are covered with this delicious barbecue sauce, guys. In the meanwhile, we're going to cover these ribs back on down. And I'm going to place it back into the oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Like I said earlier on, you could decide to cook it at 250, but it's going to take more hours, or at 350, which is going to be lesser time. However, I am, like I said, going to place it back into the oven and allow the barbecue sauce to become nice and sticky. Once we're done, we're going to pull it on out, and your ribs should look just like this.
Check it on out. Our beautiful ribs are done. The sauce is nice and sticky. What else can I say? It looks absolutely amazing. Now for the moment of truth, right? Just to show you how tender and beautiful these ribs are. Just look at it. Literally. I'm going to turn it around so you can see. Falling off the bone tender. The bone is literally, look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Presentational purposes, I'm just going to get in there and cut it.
We're going to place it down onto a plate just like this. And we're going to take a good scoop of our delicious homemade potato salad, and we're going to place it onto the plate right next to it. Of course, I'm not going to leave you hanging. Check the bottom of this video in the description bar area. Click on more, and you're going to see the recipe details. We're going to grab our delicious sweet milk buttered corn, and we're going to place it on the plate as well. Get some melted butter, add it to the top, get some more of that extra barbecue dipping sauce and place it on the side. And guess what? Sunday dinner is served. Definitely give this recipe a try, guys. When I tell you, this recipe right here, finger licking delicious.
I want to show you how universal this recipe is. Let's say if you don't want to incorporate, let's say, potato salad and all the other sides, but you want to make a pulled pork sandwich. All you have to do is obviously just remove the bones and pull it apart just like this. Look at how beautiful. You may not want the excess fat pieces. Some of you might just want the extra fat. It is totally up to you. Place it right there just like that. Serve it up with your favorite beverage, whether or not if it's beer or juice or even water, and get to eating.
As always, I'm your girl Cooking with Tammy. Don't forget to get your seasonings at cookingwithtammy.shop. And as always, I would definitely catch you in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.